So the Mario movie trailer just dropped, and as you might have figured, everyone is talking about it. Sonic has already played his movie card, and now it's Mario's turn. Well, technically, he's already played that card once, but I don't want to talk about that sorry excuse for a live-action Mario movie. Nintendo's trying to move on from it, and frankly, so am I. Now, yes, I'm a Sonic channel. No, I am not rebranding, but come on. It's impossible to talk about one without at least hearing about the other. These two characters get compared to each other time and again. In fact, it's happening right now as far as the movies are concerned. Some are saying the Mario movie is going to blow the Sonic movies out of the water. Some are saying the complete reverse. Well, you know how this goes, I think. I don't subscribe to that mentality personally. If both are great, and I enjoy both of them, whether one is better than the other is irrelevant to me. Just like with Sonic, I've enjoyed Mario games since I was a kid. I kind of fell out of the franchise around 2010, which ironically is when Sonic's meta era kicked off. But I started playing Mario games again, and no, not because of a trailer. I'd gotten back into the franchise before it ever actually dropped, or before the cast for the Mario movie was announced. So yeah, I am very familiar with the Mario franchise, at least as far as the games are concerned, but similar to Sonic, they're how Mario originated, so of course I would follow them the most. I had every reason to be curious about this trailer, and I came away from it feeling mostly satisfied. I say mostly because of one issue I have with it. You can probably guess what that issue is, but we're gonna save that for later. Quick little note, I won't be using any trailer footage here because you know Nintendo and their copyright ninjas, they don't treat their fan base well. So I'm gonna take the safer route here and use screenshots. Let's start with the animation. I had no opinion of Illumination's work, so I went into this trailer blindfolded. And I came away feeling pleasantly surprised by what I saw. The quality of the animation looks buttery smooth and frankly beautiful. The characters are just how I imagined they would look in comparison to how they appear in the games. Well, for the most part, something about Mario's facial structure felt slightly different to me. I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it's in the eyes, I guess, but it's barely noticeable in my opinion, and so it's the kind of thing that I can easily forgive. When I look at these characters, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Mario, or Bowser, or Toad, or Comic, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Magic Koopa. Also, is that a subtle reference to Luigi's Mansion, even though that's not a mansion that Luigi's running towards? Like, it's something about the landscape that makes me think of Luigi's Mansion. I hope they bring in the booze too, that'd be sick. Did anybody else get serious Bowser's Fury vibes when watching the trailer? Because that was the first thing that went through my mind. Then everything else started happening and oh my god, we need to talk about the island that Bowser is piloting like a ship. Can we work out a deal where I can have an island like that? Come on, man, we can talk about this. And an army of penguins throwing snow at a Koopa that breathes fire and a ship running off of fire. What made them think that was going to work out? And the Penguin King had the audacity to ask, do you yield? That is meme material, bro. Oh, and the Power Stars are gonna be in the movie. Or do you call them Superstars? Power Stars? You can go with whichever one you want. The plot of the movie seems to have become clear. Bowser is seeking out the Power Stars with which to take over all the kingdoms, and Mario has to stop him. But he's likely going into this movie ignorant of his role at first. Seems kind of like an origin story for him, similar to what the Sonic movies did. I have to say, that's going to be intriguing. Couldn't really get a good look at Peach's castle because it was a little too far off in the distance, but hopefully we'll get a better look at it in another trailer, which we're going to be getting because they did say there would be more trailers. Who here is excited for them? Now, we don't get to see the whole cast in this trailer, but it's funny that I mentioned Peach's castle. Gonna tell you right now, spoilers are coming up, so if you don't want to see them, I recommend skipping to the end of this section. Gonna give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Promotional images of the Mario movie were sent out to McDonald's restaurants, and they contained a look at Mario's appearance in the movie. Guess what happened? They leaked onto the internet just before the trailer actually dropped. So surprise, people already knew what Mario would look like before they saw the trailer. Toad too, for that matter. And then another image that came up later on contained a look at Princess Peach from the Mushroom Kingdom. And there she is right here. Now, Similar to Mario, something about her facial structure felt a little different. Again, I can't really explain it, but I mean, when I look at this character, I definitely see Peach, so they've done something right. And I'm not 100% sure here, but word has it that Donkey Kong is going to have a slightly more cartoonish appearance in this movie. I'm not entirely sure, just going by what I've heard. Animation-wise, this trailer makes the grade, and so does the trailer music. It features a piece of Mario music that has been reworked to give it a more cinematic feel, and it is done to great effect. The vibes from this movie are so noticeable that they almost feel physical. And I bet you Mario fans are gonna have a blast watching it when it finally drops 6 months later. Alright, we talked about the animation, now on to the voice acting. This is gonna be another one of those hot topics, isn't it? Jack Black immediately stole the show as Bowser. He is awesome, what can I say? I never heard of Jack Black before he was announced to be the voice of Bowser, but consider me a fan. Similar to how Jim Carrey stole all our hearts with his portrayal of Dr. Robotnik, Jack Black is accomplishing the same goal with Bowser. And from watching him in the pre-trailer interview in the Nintendo Direct, you could tell he was fully embracing his role as the King of the Koopas. He even packed on all that Koopa muscle to go with it. Hurrah! Next up is Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. While I haven't heard about too many of the names on this list for the Mario movie, Keegan is one name I am familiar with, and well, I'm not sure where I stand on his portrayal of Toad. I mean, he certainly isn't terrible, but well, I don't know how I feel about this yet. I'll have to give it a little bit more time. And now, on to the elephant in the room. It has to do with the title character, or rather, the one voicing the title character. We've got Chris Pratt as the voice of Mario. When I first learned that Chris would be voicing Mario, I felt like somebody punched me in the face, and it took me a whole minute to process the fact that somebody had hit me. Like, who could possibly look at Chris Pratt and think to themselves, oh, this guy could totally voice Mario? Like, are you kidding me, bro? And before anybody gets the wrong idea, no, I have nothing against Chris Pratt. I literally have no opinion of the guy. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and didn't it have a sequel too? I think it did? I don't recall. But the fact that I don't really remember my experience of watching those movies ought to say a lot. Like, they weren't disasters or anything of the sort. They were okay, but I never felt compelled to watch them again. The one thing that made them somewhat worthwhile, at least, was hearing, I am Groot! What's funny to me is that when my Nintendo Direct happened, the producer for the Mario movie confidently stated that when people heard Chris's take on Mario, their criticisms would evaporate. Well, I'm waiting for those criticisms to evaporate because they're still there. In fact, if I hadn't known any better, I could have sworn they'd only gotten worse. I know mine certainly have. When I heard Mario speak like 2 lines in the trailer, I didn't hear Mario speaking. I heard Chris Pratt. Like, sure, he has something of an accent to it, but I'm sorry guys, Chris Pratt just doesn't fit Mario in any way. You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me how to think. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Chris Pratt ain't Mario. I'm sorry, it just ain't gonna work. Charles Martinet was right there. Charles Martinet was right there. He voiced Mario for how long exactly? Oh right, over a quarter of a century. Now in all fairness, it is exceedingly rare for any Mario cast member to speak full-on dialogue. But it has happened before. I mean, hello, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and the majority of Charles' work consists of him doing things like, yeah, wahoo, yaha, here we go, and stuff like that, you get the idea. But he has spoken complete sentences before, and his delivery of them is just beautiful. So imagine him voicing Mario for a full-on movie. I was so looking forward to that. It likely would have been the apex of his work. And what confuses me is that I've seen people saying that Charles voicing Mario for a full movie just wouldn't work. And I'm like, huh? I'm okay with people having different opinions, but if this is really what you believe, then I'd like to point you towards the French dub for the Mario movie trailer. When I heard Mario speaking in the dub, I about did a double take. I actually heard Mario speaking. Not Chris Pratt, Mario. It's almost like the point of casting people to play certain characters is because they are a perfect fit for the character they are voicing. How is it the French dub of the Mario movie knocks this out of the park, but the original version does not? What kind of timeline is this? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Charles has literally given his all when it comes to voicing Mario, despite the fact that the bulk of his work does not consist of dialogue, but rather of sound effects. Again though, he's spoken complete sentences before, and nobody's ever complained. Why would this suddenly become a problem for a full-on movie? I don't understand. Like, there's a reason people think of Charles when they think of the voice of Mario. I wonder what that reason could be. I mentioned the Sonic movies earlier, so I think I can guess what some of you are thinking of asking me in the comments below. When Paramount made the decision to recast Sonic for the movies, rather than bringing in Roger Craig Smith, who voices Sonic in the games, was I as upset about that as I clearly am with the casting of the Mario movie? Absolutely not! That is a completely different situation from what we're talking about right now. When it comes to Sonic voice actors, I think Sonic is the one role who's had the greatest amount of changes made to his voice actor. At least, I'm fairly certain of that. Whereas Mario hasn't had his voice actor change since Super Mario 64 in 1996. That's when I was first introduced to Charles as the voice of Mario, but as it turns out, he made his debut 4 years before that for a Mario pinball machine. That's some interesting little trivia. But if they absolutely had to recast Mario, they did not make the greatest choice here. I'm sorry, Chris simply doesn't fit. Now, I can totally accept the idea of them casting other people to play the roles of Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi, because Charles has simultaneously voiced those 3 characters along with Mario. Asking him to voice 4 characters for a full movie like that would definitely be unreasonable. So what I'd rather do is have other people play the rest of the characters while Charles handles Mario. That seems like a fair way to handle things, right? But he doesn't even get the title character that he's been defined for. Just a cameo, of all things. A cameo. Bro, I'm not Charles, but I'm affronted. I'm not going to hold anything against Chris for chasing the bag. If you get offered a chance to voice Mr. Video Game himself, you take it. You're stupid if you don't. So rather, I had to ask, why would the people in charge look at Chris Pratt and think he'd be a perfect fit for Mario? Nah, man, that's not Mario I hear. That's just Chris Pratt, and he doesn't fit. And here's something else I want to point out. When watching the Nintendo Direct, you could tell that Jack Black was all in about voicing Bowser. But when Chris talked about voicing Mario, I don't know, something about the way he was talking just felt forced, like it was scripted. Now, maybe that's just the way he normally talks. I don't know enough about him to assume otherwise. But I just didn't get that same energy from him that I got from Jack Black. Like, I'm not sure if he cares as much about the character as the fact that he is voicing a big name in pop culture. You know? Does that make any sense? This is my only complaint I've had about the movie. Everything else that I've seen looks and sounds great. Better than great, actually. Amazing, even. But Mario is the title character. It's kinda important that he be given just as much care as everyone and everything else. And I don't feel that's what happened here, and so I'm very disappointed. I really am. Of course, I do realize that Mario's only spoken like 2 lines in the trailer, and with more coming up, we're gonna get to hear more about Chris Pratt's Mario and either add to or take away from our current judgment. But still, if people are enjoying Bowser and Toad's voices, but not Mario's, doesn't that tell you that something is seriously wrong? I really hate making videos like this where I appear overly critical of somebody, so let me state once again, I have nothing against Chris Pratt. He was handed an opportunity, and he took it, as he should. He simply does not fit Mario. Apparently the higher-ups at Illumination and Nintendo disagree, which, it is what it is. I simply don't hear Mario in a movie that's supposed to be about Mario, and I find that problematic. And no, I don't think the Mario movie will bomb just because of the casting choice for Mario. but it will get referenced often in people's reviews about it. I'm calling it right now. Still, I'm looking forward to watching the film, and I'm expecting to have a great time. But for a movie to be good, it has to be about more than just the brand and its staying power. If it were just about the brand, Paramount could have gotten away with not changing Sonic's design before releasing the first film, and it would have done well still, except it wouldn't have. If the design had never been changed, we never would have gotten a sequel, or a threequel, or a spin-off. Now, this is a different situation. There is no design crisis with Mario. I'm looking at the character, and I definitely see Mario. It's just his voice that I have an issue with, and I still strongly believe that Charles should have gotten the role that he literally poured himself into. But unlike before, I doubt the internet raising hell is going to get either Illumination or Nintendo to backtrack on their casting choice for Mario. This is Nintendo we're talking about. They're known for sticking to their guns, which on one hand is respectable, but on the other hand, how they stick to their guns tends to cause more problems than it helps to solve. And any longtime fan of the Nintendo community can easily attest to this. It's why, in stark contrast to the Sonic fan community, Mario fans making mods or fan games tend to be putting themselves at risk because again, Nintendo is Nintendo. Still, I wish the Mario movie all the success in the world. I hope it does well, and in fact, I'm confident it will do well. But when it comes to the title character, they could have done better. That's really all I have to say. And those are my thoughts on the Mario movie trailer. I'm looking forward to seeing more trailers for it. I'm really loving what I'm seeing, apart from what I spent the bulk of this video talking about, of course, but there you go. So, what do you think? Let me know your own thoughts on the Mario movie in the comments below. And don't worry, we'll get straight back to making Sonic videos after this. But if you would in fact like to see more Mario videos, well, let me know. Also, a big thank you to everybody who's helped this channel to reach 3,000 subscribers. I got a big thank you message coming up for you guys. Stick around for that. And I will see you all next time. Until then, peace! Blue blurs for life! Alright, I'll stop. Blue blurs for life. Take care.